And are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC Vegas 94 back at the Apex for maybe the worst main event I've seen on paper, guys. At least that I can recall. Again, on paper, let's see how the fight plays out. Not the best card from a betting standpoint. It will be a small client card, if one at all. Like always, though, I'll break down the main event, break down the main card, provide free picks, leans, price talk, and more for everybody. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping for client opportunities, records, free picks, resume, client comments over the years, guys, and more. Join a long-term winning system today. Have that secondary income for yourself. If you're watching on video or listening on audio platforms, thanks so much. It is much appreciated. I'm getting a lot more audio listeners, I see. Now we have a new setup for video. Still working on, obviously, everything for the video, but I do think we're there. Getting close at least. Clean card last week. Another profitable card, another perfect card for myself and clients. A card I didn't like. I only had one play. It was a 2-fight parlay, both hit. All over Rose, right? I gave it to you guys also on the podcast. The spot was just tough for Cortez, right? Too much of a step up in competition, which I mentioned. The short notice, which I mentioned. And then also the weight issue, right? The weight cut issue, which happened after the podcast. But that also played to a factor. And you're getting Rose, at 2-1 favor, which I believe was accurate. So I do think the price was right. Nice to see this for Rose, right? She had some struggles there a few years ago. Comes back with a couple nice wins. This is a good win over Cortez. We know Cortez had a lot of success in the UFC. However, the step up in competition was going to be the issue here for Cortez, and it proved to be. So happy to see Rose not far from a title shot. Maybe one more fight, and she can get back in there. We'll definitely see how that plays out. Let's do a UFC update here, guys. UFC update for everybody. What a year it has been. Most of the years have been outstanding for myself and clients, and for you podcast listeners as well. Just year after year, documented on here with clients, free picks, etc. The system continues to just beat the books long term, right? 23-2. Sorry about that. Pay-per-view run. That's what, 92%, guys? Average line plus money. Keep that in mind. 41-18, all cards run. 70%. That's long term. That's pretty much almost a full year, guys. Average line plus money. Average line plus money, always important to mention here. And 71% 2-fight parlays, 23 and 24. That's 2023, 2024, long term. Average line plus money once again, guys. We were profitable in both soccer tournaments that just ended. All over Spain, the last 2 games, they played well to help us. Group stage was very up and down. We did get caught by a couple upsets, but the knockout stage was very profitable, and the future markets also was profitable. We hit on all of our larger 1-unit bets, which was important in the futures market. Also profitable in the Copas. We had a very low volume, only 3-4 bets, but we were able to go 3-1. And 2 of those wins were on Colombia. Currently just handicapping PGA and the UFC with NFL around the corner. Futures market already is starting. All the market research is around the corner for me. And you guys know my NFL success over the years. Let's get right into it. Shop around for best prices. I know a lot of you guys may not be betting this card. I don't suggest to, if you are going to bet this card, don't have some large plays on it. Don't have some large units. There's no clear standout winner, I believe, in a lot of these fights. Obviously, all my research will go up until the weigh-ins, and the client card will be released on Friday. Possible, I would say 9 out of, I would say maybe I missed like 1 or 2 cards and passed on them completely, but it's rare. It is rare. I usually do find some value or something I like throughout the card. Remember, prelims as well. Lemos, main event, plus 110 versus Generoba, minus 138. I said on paper this may be the worst main event ever. Let's fight, right? Let's see how it goes. It could be a good fight. We never know. Key word, though, like I mentioned, was on paper. Janaroba, sneaky 3-fight win streak, right? Over some solid girls. It's not like she's beating up, nobodies. I would say she's beating up decent mid-tier fighters, right? You got a win over Angela Hill, who's a veteran and has won some big fights. Also on the bad side of some fights where I thought she could have won. Marina Rodriguez, good win there. And then Gonez, the last time out. All decent fighters. So the wins are, I would say solid enough, right? We know Lemos, right, has fought the bigger names, been in the bigger spots, in the main event spots before. We also, we know she fought Wei Li, got beat up there, but, most people do get beat up by Wei Li. And then she also did beat Rodriguez and is coming off a Dern win as well. Classic striker versus grappler type of fight here, right? Lemos will have the striking advantage. She'll have the power and volume on the feet. We know what Janaroba wants to do, get this fight down to the ground. She should be able to get the fight down to the ground throughout the fight, at some point at the fight. 57% takedown defense for Lemos is not good enough, and it doesn't make me confident enough to back her due to the 57% takedown defense, right? We know what Janaroba likes to do. Looks for the fight to get down to the ground. Tries to get down or tries to use a submission game, try to be top heavy, right? What can she do with the takedowns against Lemos, right? Lemos going to get back up. We're going to see, right? We're going to see how that plays out. But she does clearly have the grappling and wrestling advantage here. Doesn't have the 5-round experience. Doesn't have the big spot main event experience, right? And that's where, I have a little concern. You're betting on minus 138, minus 140. Those are the two concerns that I'm worried about here, right? And, Lemos better on the feet. Going to have more volume on the feet. Going to hit harder than her. Going to land most likely the bigger shots in the fight. So if this goes 5 rounds, what do the judges like better? Right? What do they like better? The control and grappling time and the takedowns, or the bigger shots, the more eye-catching shots from Lemos? Right? Do you want to bet that? Do you want to bet on, I have this fight going deep. At least probably 3 rounds, 4. It could go all the rounds distance. I believe that it could get to the judges as well. I'm not 100% confident on that. Again, I'm not going to have a bet on this fight for myself or clients, like a lot of these fights, to be honest. I'm just letting you guys know now as I'm transparent. It's somewhat of a coin flip type of fight, right? And, I usually do like to lean with the grappler and wrestler when they have that advantage, and I'm going to do that here. I also like that 3-fight win streak. She's going to come in confident into this. Again, though, concerns at first 5-round fight, the main event experience, how is she going to handle it? Lemos has been there, done that. Right? That's where I can't bet it personally, but I'm going to give a lean for podcast purpose on Janaroba here. I just won't be betting it. Tavares plus 130 versus Park minus 160. We talked about the ugly main event. This is an ugly co-main event as well, guys. Right? It's not getting much better here. Remember, guys, they put these cards on almost every week. So you can't have the best cards from time to time. I would rather these cards than no cards, right? I get some of you guys, casuals, don't watch these type of cards. I watch it from the opening prelims, early, until the end, right? This is what I do. This is what I love. So, I want to see it, right? But there are people always complaining about, the card's not that good. And I say it as well, right? But I still watch it, and I understand why. Because they can't have the best names fighting all the time. They have a deep roster. These guys have to fight. So, I get it. I'm not taking anything away here from the UFC. Tavares still kicking it, right? Coming off a loss to Rodriguez. That's RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. He had that win over a washed Weidman not too long ago, but not much success as of late, guys. Park was on a 4-fight win streak, but then lost to Muñez the last time out. Park will look for takedowns here. However, Tavares has great takedown defense at 81%. So I believe this fight stays on the feet. Right? I believe it'll stay on the feet, and I'd give Park a little more advantage on the field. It's not going to be hard, right? Tavares obviously low volume, and I think Park has a little more volume than him. But, neither guy really has that knockout power. Tavares, I'm a little worried about his Chin as of late. He has three finishes in his last 5. He's been knocked down a lot too, guys. A little worried about that. He used to be a lot more durable, Tavares. As of late, though, not as much. And you just have to think about the wear and tear that he's taken, right? Parker not really known for that big power, though, right? So, this is a fight I can definitely see going over the 2.5 rounds. Most likely fight that goes the distance as well. That could be a play here. Just because I don't see Park as really like a big-time finisher. I could see him knocking down Tavares, but a clean finish, I do not really see that here. The question also was Park going to, use some of his takedown abilities on Tavares. I doubt it. I really like Tavares' takedown defense. So, to be honest, again, not a fight I'm betting, not a fight that's going to get my clients money. But I'm going to lean Park here. If I had to bet it, I would bet Park in this spot due to just what I'm seeing from Tavares, right? Hurt in his last 5 fights. 3 of them he's been finished. Just concerning. It's concerning, right? So Park obviously on that nice run before his last loss. I think he bounces back here, finds a way to win this fight, but it could be a close fight. Something I just don't want my money on or involved in. Steve Garcia Jr. minus 150 versus Troy plus 125. This should be actually a decent fight. Fun fight. Is it a fight that you want to heavily invest in? No, because it's going to be a firefight. It's just going to be 2 guys slugging it out, in my opinion. Both guys have power. Both guys swing heavy. Both guys can be hit. Do you want to bet that, guys? I would be surprised if this fight went all 3 rounds. Very surprised. My favorite play is under the 2.5. Fight doesn't go the distance. If you can get a good price on that, maybe parlay with another play, that's the way you want to look here. Right? Garcia Jr., we know he has a ton of power. He hits somebody, they're getting knocked out for the most part, right? 15 of his wins in his MMA career, 12 has been by KO or TKO, guys. And we've seen Troy hurt often. We've seen him get up, but he's been hurt a lot and knocked down, right? He's also on a 3-fight win streak coming into this fight. Troy, 3 losses in his last 4, 2 losses by finish. He's coming off a win, though, by decision over a poor Aaron's. Both guys are known for being knocked down, like I mentioned, in the fights. Chins are questionable on both these guys. If this goes all 3 rounds, I would be pretty surprised. Obviously going to have to pay for it, but that's going to be my favorite player. Under the 2.5 rounds, fight not to go the distance. This could be a fun one, right? You could see this maybe being fight of the night possibility here. The lean, I always give you guys some sort of play. The 2.5 rounds under would be my favorite play. I lean Garcia as well. I like the 3-fight win streak that he's on. Not enough juice, not enough value here in the underdog Troy at plus 125. I'll be staying away from this fight. That under 2.5 rounds could make my client card, though. Hobro plus 110 versus Krauchaniski minus 138. Not good with some of these names, guys. I had to look into both these guys a little more. Now, I know Holloway. I'm familiar with him. He's been around a little longer than his opponent. Both guys, newer to the UFC, older. When you're newer to the UFC at Holloway, had some success in the, the Ultimate Fighter? I think it was. Yeah, Ultimate Fighter, Dana White Contender Series, one of those two. But he's 37, right? He's found success late. Definitely has more experience, right? Not high on his opponent here. He has that good win all about over Hubbard. First fight in the UFC, and then Ogden. Last time out he lost, right? Stat-wise, a bit concerning for him, for Holloway, right? 46% takedown defense. Doesn't wrestle a ton. Does try to look for some power on the feet. Just poor defense on the feet as well, below 50%. There's just not a lot to like about Holloway. And that's why he's getting that plus 110. You're getting the younger guy. And the Polish fighter, I think he's background's at least Polish. His opponent 0-1 in the UFC as well. Lost to Elvis Brenner in his first fight. Again, a fight that I have 50-50 could go either way, guys. Right? It could go either way. So that's when you want to say, okay, I'm getting plus 110 with the fighter with more experience. You may want to start looking that way, right? It's just these type of fights when they're flip of a coins or guys newer to the UFC where there's not a clear advantage anywhere. I just stay away, and I advise you guys to stay away too. For you guys that play big parlays and try to bet every fight, obviously not suggested and not a way to make money long term. I never suggest to do that. But you guys, some guys just like to have fun, right? Put $10, $20 on a parlay. I get it. I totally get it. Not a profitable long-term play. But if you're going to bet this fight, you're going to look for value, you got to take the plus money, right? Again, younger fighter, I get it. He comes in, probably wins this fight. But again, I have no really clear lean or comment on this fight. It's a fight I'll be totally staying away from. I mentioned some of the stats I'm concerned on Holloway. And, I get it if you're going to bet the other fighter. Again, I just have this fight as a flip of a coin. Troy plus 140 versus Algio minus 170. Decent little fight here. This fight that Algio should win. It's a good bounce back spot for him after that loss to Kyle Nelson getting knocked out, which everyone was a little bit surprised about. Algio is coming off that loss, and I call Kyle Nelson a scrappy Canadian, right? Scrappy fighter. A guy that's fairly well-rounded, has power on his feet, and seems to be very durable. Right. Prior to that, though, Algio 3 wins. Right. We love Algio's volume. Right, at over 6 per minute. We like when he mixes in some grappling as well. But he can be taken down. We're not worried about Troy taking him down, though. Right. Troy lost 3 in a row with a draw. Funny enough, that draw was to Kyle Nelson. That's something to mention. Algio, he'll have the reach advantage here, like he usually does. A height advantage as well. And I do think he does have the cardio advantage in this one as well. I don't love this price on Algio. I have won a lot of money in the past on him. I did have him in that Kyle Nelson fight, being honest. Did ruin the card there, if I recall, or at least that bad. Probably still end up profiting on the card, but it was a while ago. Yeah, I would have to bet Algio here at this price. Troy just hasn't panned out, right? I think there was some hype on him coming into the UFC, but he doesn't look good, guys. He doesn't look good. So I think Algio kind of sneaks this away with the win in the cardio, the volume on the feet. I think that will be enough from him, and I think he gets his hand raised. Decent little fight here as well. Bruno Silva plus 100 versus Durden minus 125. Personally, I have this line flipped or at an even money fight, so I do like the value here on Bruno Silva. Sure, you can say it's another coin flip fight, but when I look at Bruno Silva, I do think he has some better skills than Durden in most areas besides the wrestling. Right, Silva, 3-fight win streak, which favors him in the current form, even though Durden has won 4 of his last 5. So you can look at it either way. If you're betting Silva here, you're worried about Durden's wrestling. I know the high takedowns at almost 5 per fight, but Silva can be very dangerous on his back. Right, his takedown defense is not terrible at 64%. It's decent. So Durden wins this fight, obviously, by controlling him on the ground. Can he control him on the ground is the question. And that's why I think Durden is the slight favorite here due to the wrestling advantage. Right, but I have Silva as obviously the better striker here. I have him as the advantage in the grappling department if it gets there. And, fun fact here, guys. Durden has 5 losses in the UFC. In his MMA career. 4 of those times he's been submitted. Not a great jiu-jitsu game. Okay? Silva has 4 submissions under his belt. Just saying, there's some plus 550 out there, plus 600. It is live. If he can catch it, obviously Durden should be going into that in the back of his head thinking that could be live. If you want to take a shot on that for a very small unit, always worth it due to those stats, right? Is it going to happen? You don't know, right? Silva could keep it on the feet. Maybe hurt Durden on the feet, doesn't need to get there, right? It's how the fight plays out. But I think there's a little bit of value due to those numbers there. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Not a great card. It's an Apex card. Trying to get these guys to fight. I get it. I love fights no matter who's fighting. Again, it's just not always smart from a betting standpoint to be betting these cards, especially for high units. If you're going to have some fun, smaller units, that's what I suggest on these type of cards. Having large plays or, large volume on these type of cards, I don't suggest it. The system does not suggest it, and that's why I'm able to profit long-term every year. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Like I always say, bet smart and know your limits. Try to enjoy this card.